Hey guys, LootWizard here with another Gems of War video, and this is a Soul Forge video. We're going to go over the new event, all the weapons and troops here, giving my opinion on these things. So let's go right into it, Soul Forge, and as far as weapons go, I'm going to go right down to the best of the best here. We've got the Doomdax. This thing is basically like a Mythic Troop. It's awesome. It deals damage to all enemies. Pretty high magic damage, and you can boost it with the tempering level. Mine's at 10 plus, which is maxed out. That adds an extra 10 damage to the spell damage. It also converts purple gems to doom skulls, so that's really awesome. Doom skulls are very powerful, and so this is one of the most powerful doom weapons in the game. Totally worth the 900 diamonds. If you don't have this one, I would suggest getting it. Now, another thing here to consider is this Scarab of Nefertani. This thing, if you don't have it, you might want to craft this thing because it's a part of the necessary items to craft the Dusk Bringer weapon. And I'm still missing this one here, but I've already crafted these two. So this week, though, if you're missing this one, you may want to craft that so you can potentially craft this weapon here if you get all three of these other items. Now, the other weapon that's in here is Crystal Axe. This is a monster weapon that generates mana for other monster allies. And we do have a monster class, so it does work pretty good with some of what's going on with that. The Dervish class is the monster class. And it will give all monster allies 2 to all skill points on a 4 or 5 gem match. And this will generate 6 green and brown gems for each monster ally. So you'll have opportunities to get those 4 or 5 matches with this weapon. And there's quite a few good monster troops. But one negative to monster troops is there is no way right now in the game to make them start with half mana, which is a little unfortunate. I hope that they do come out with some kind of legendary monster troop that does make that happen, because I'll use monsters way more often if that's the case. But not a bad weapon for some monster teams. That's pretty much it for weapons. Moving on to troops. For legendaries, we have Crimson Bat, Forest Guardian, we have Keelan, and then we have Captain Macaw. Now, right away out of this, I'm going to say number 1 is Keelan. It has a really good synergy with the other legendary troop that is called Divine Ishbala. You'll see those two paired together in a lot of teams, especially with Rope Dart and that Moon Rabbit, which is an evil rabbit from the pits of hell. That thing is horrible. I hate it. I like using it, but I hate fighting against it because the thing gives life, and I don't know. It's frustrating when you have that combination with that team. Anyway. So, Forest Guardian is also pretty good. This thing does transform purple gems to skulls and brown gems to green. And it gives all a beast barrier every time you cast it. It does make beasts start with 50% mana. So that's pretty cool. So that's probably number 2. I'd say Keelan's number 1 for Legendary. Forest Guardian 2. Crimson Bat is probably 3. Captain Macaw's got this weird ability. It's lethal kill. But it's only on submerged enemies, and there's really no way to really make enemies get submerged, like there's maybe 1 or 2 troops that can do that, but it's kind of weird. And this thing does make all rogue allies start with 50% mana, but there's really no great rogue troops in the game right now to really go with this, so it's kind of a dud in my opinion. I never use it, at least not yet. Once they come out with better rogue allies, then that might change. Anyway, going on to Mythic Troops here, we have the Arachnian Weaver, we have the Champion of Guard, the Lord of Slaughter, and Huang Long. Now, out of these, the Lord of Slaughter is absolutely number 1. I would say Arachnian Weaver is number 2 this week, and then Huan Long is 3, and I'm probably massacring that name, by the way. It's probably a Chinese name, and I do not speak Chinese, so I apologize to all of you that know Chinese very well. You probably know how to pronounce this easy. So then we have, what was it, Champion of Guard? Yeah, Champion of Guard in there. That's probably 4th place there for the Mythic Troops. But, the past few weeks, we've had some, I don't know, not so great weeks for Mythic Troops. But this week is pretty awesome because we have Lord of Slaughter is fantastic. One of the best mythics in the game. It's it's up there as like almost #1 mythic. It creates brown gems, 6 brown gems, then it converts all brown gems to Doom Skulls, then it will inflict 1 to 2 bleeds, 1 to 2 death marks on random enemies. It also summons a Doomstorm at the start of the battle, 100% chance to ignore armor with skull damage. I mean, this thing is an absolute beast. Love using it a lot. A lot of chances that I get, I use it. And that Arachnean Weaver is also really good. Webs enemies, which reduces their magic to 0. Deals true damage to the last 2 enemies. If an enemy dies, it explodes 15 gems. It also has a 75% chance to summon a web spinner when an enemy dies. So that right there is the #1, #2. Now this guy down here, Huan Long, is a Dragon Troop. Deals 24 damage to all enemies. Then there are individual 50% chances to gain 24 attack, gain an extra turn, and gain barrier, enchanted, or blessed. And it gives 3 magic to all dragon allies when matching 4 or more gems. So it reduces damage from skulls by 70%. So this thing's also not a bad dragon troop either. And dragons now have the ability to start with half mana. There is a new dragon troop out. It's not really new. It's newish. It's been out for a few months. That now allows dragons to start with 50% mana, which makes them even more powerful than they used to be. But it's also divine, which allows you to put this troop in a divine team. And Divine Ishbala will give that 40% starting mana as well. So, yeah, that's what I think of the troops. Lord of Slaughter is awesome. Get it if you don't have it. Now, as far as the event that's going on, it's called Festival Fiasco here. This thing, I've already been playing around with it a little bit just so I don't have to waste you guys' time, like, trying to get to a higher level. So I already bought the medal. We have a medal, and it is, we have 160% spell damage. So you got to focus on spell damage. The troop restrictions for this is Drifting Sands Kingdom. So any kind of troops or weapons that is a part of that kingdom we can use, including troops that are from the underworld but are also a part of that kingdom. So for example, Queen Beatrix is from the underworld, but it is a Drifting Sands troop. So this is going to be my #1 recommendation for this event is use Queen Beatrix. Whatever other troops you use this one. Now, there are some mythics and legendaries that are available for this kingdom, but I would say, you obviously you can make any team that you want. Focus on spell damage because that's the boost. But for me, I try to build a team that was around some lesser rarity troops, just because not everybody has the mythics, not everybody has the legendaries. So Queen Beatrix is the only legendary in this team. Sand Runner is kind of a more generic troop. Starts battles with 75% mana, deals damage to the first and last enemies, then deal double damage to a random enemy. Moth Mage, also an underworld troop from the same kingdom as the Queen Beatrix. So if you're down there and you're getting Queen Beatrix, or trying to, you'll probably get Moth Mage. So Moth Mage will deal 20 damage to all enemies, and there's some independent 25% chances boosted by brown gems to gain an extra turn and half my mana back. All that good stuff. So now I'm using this, which is this weapon for Drifting Sands allies, but you can, because this is going to generate some mana. But you can use a different weapon. There is the Dancing Daggers. There is the Doomdax. You also have Crystal Axe, which generates mana for monsters if you go with monsters. But these aren't really monsters. These are, Sand Runner is a monster, but Queen Beatrix, which is really our best troop for this team, is not a monster. So I'm focusing on something else there. But there is a few weapons here that you can use. But anyway, so for the mana, I'm focusing on green and brown because green is for Queen Beatrix, and it also generates green and brown mana here. So for the brown, it would be Sand Runner and Moth Mage. And so we'll go in here, and I'll show you real quick. But I think this team is pretty solid. Queen Beatrix, obviously, is the one that you want to keep powered up the most. And that thing is going to take out pretty much everything. And it does have the looping potential simply because it's going to generate that 9 green and brown gems every time you cast it. So here we go. We got Queen Beatrix all powered up, and the brown that it generates is going to go right into the Sand Runner. And of course, now we got this Moth Mage here. We'll cast that. And let's see, what do we got? Well, now I got this powered up, so I'm going to use that, generate some more mana there. Let's see, we got that. And we'll use this again. And there we go. That's dead. So it might be a little slower, but really, I think it's a pretty solid team because Queen Beatrix will generate the brown mana for the Sandrunner troop there at the top and the Moth Mage down below there. And the green that it generates will empower itself. And if you do have a banner that is green and brown like I selected, every one of those is going to power these up pretty quick. I got the Moth Mage in there just for a little extra damage. And if there's only one troop left, the Sandrunner actually does a decent amount of damage because it's doing all of those things to a single enemy. So if there's only one enemy left, the Sandrunner will do 21 damage, and this is boosted by the 160% because I have a medal here. It'll deal that damage to the first and last enemies, then deal double damage to a random enemy. So it'll do all of that to one enemy if there's only one left. Which, so, like, just reading the card makes it sound a little weak maybe, but considering that the more troops that die on the enemy team, you're actually going to be doing more damage every time that you cast it from then on. And the weaker the enemies get, Queen Beatrix can just finish them off with that true scatter damage. So I like this team here. And of course, you can use a different class. I'm using the Dervish class just because, it's the Drifting Sands class. And this kingdom is all about that. But you can really use any class that you want for this event. I feel like there should be a 4 match somewhere in here, but I don't see it, so. And it's nice that Moth Mage also has these independent chance, 25% independent chances to get like an extra turn, its mana back, and certain things like that. So it's always kind of a plus. And of course, Queen Beatrix is an absolute monster because once it starts looping, you cast it, and it just destroys everything. And then it also has some chances there to get an extra turn and its mana back. So, but that's my team there for the event. I think it's a pretty good team that doesn't rely heavily on mythics. There's the only legendary in there is Queen Beatrix, and the other ones are attainable pretty easy, I think. So as far as everything else, I think that's pretty much all that's going on here. We got the class trial for the Dervish in a couple of days. And that's pretty much all that's going on, I think, here, because the next event doesn't start for another 6 days. So that's all I got for you guys in this video. It's a little bit on the shorter end. I don't have as much time today to really go into depth into some of it, but yeah, I think I covered quite a bit in the time that I had here. So thanks for watching, guys, and I appreciate your support, and I'll catch you on the next video. Later.